Yo, 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 what up, everybody? This is Dogon SS. That is Leo Maceo. This is the Keep On Moving podcast show. And everybody, I'm pretty sure you done seen it already circulating through your timelines. Apparently, NFL stars believe that they can actually play in the NBA and, I don't know, dominate or compete. I don't know. But the latest person to be speaking on this happens to be Sir DeSean Jackson. That's right. You guys may remember him from the Philadelphia Eagles. He had a few stints in other locations, and his most prominent, I would say, would be the Eagles and Cal, where he went, where he was pretty dominant as a football player. You know what I'm saying? Running a 4-4-4-3. You know, but the NBA is not the NFL, and the NFL is not the NBA. But one thing that these NFL jocks have been saying is pretty, some disrespectful stuff. So Leo Maceo. Now you heard what DeSean Jackson had to say, in particular that he would bust up Jeff Teague of all people. Like, how random is that? So what are your thoughts on Sir DeSean Jackson saying that he can give NBA players work? What are your thoughts?
Man, DeSean Jackson is delusional, and he don't understand that he's 5'9", 5 foot nothing, and Jeff Teague is about 6'4", and he wasn't just a good college player that became an NBA player. He was good in high school, 5-star or whatever you want to call it. He was good all the way in high school. So DeSean Jackson can even probably be high school Jeff Teague. And I don't think you could be. You have to beat people in a G League before you face the NBA, because like for the NFL, it's like you gotta say, okay, you gotta beat people in college before you beat people in the NFL. Before you beat anybody in the NBA, you gotta beat the AAU team. Then you gotta beat the college team. Then you gotta beat the G League. Then you get into the NBA. And plus, these people are 6'8", 6'9", and up and stuff. So the only people in football with that height is your offensive lineman and your defensive tackle. So, and they ain't doing nothing. They ain't moving around. And what NFL players fail to realize is that they have offense, defense, and special teams. So you get 11 times 3, which is 33. You got 33 positions you could put an NFL player at that could just throw his body at somebody on special teams. And he probably make a tackle. It's all about determination and will, probably on special teams. And you be like, oh man, he's a good special teams person. He's good. And DeSean Jackson try to take it to the corner. It's like everybody don't got DeSean Jackson speed. Like nobody got hardly run that fast as a corner and stuff. It's all about the playbook and whatever. So you drop a NBA player, make him get a little bit fatter, let him know the playbooks, put a little bit more weight on a person like LeBron James or Giannis, and put him at middle linebacker or linebacker, and then you got a problem. Then they don't got to do that much. You ain't, oh yeah, I could blow him out. Nah, you gonna wait till you catch the ball. And you gonna have about LeBron James can probably get to a cozy 300 pounds or 325, while you be like, oh yeah, he out of shape. And a 6'8" LeBron James, 300 and something pounds, and not hitting you, then you got a problem. So that's how I feel about it. And the NFL can't say that. You gotta, it's skills. You gotta have the height. If you don't got the height, you gotta be like Allen Iverson, and everybody ain't like Allen Iverson. So no.
That's fair. I've seen a lot of football players, come over to the gym and start playing for conditioning and all kinds of stuff. And they play like football players. They play basketball like football players. Yeah. It's very uncoordinated. They're just grunting all over the place, elbowing people, fouling people. And so can they get a bucket? Because that was DeSean Jackson's argument. He was like, oh, if you drop me in NBA, I can get a bucket on Jeff Teague. And it was like, okay, but get a bucket, what does that mean? Can you actually play in the NBA? Yes or no? And the answer is no, because you have to be hella coordinated. Those guys in the NBA, now we're talking NBA basketball, not rec league, All right, not LA Fitness. Okay, we're talking about NBA players. This is the best of the best. This is the cream of the crop. So not only are these guys tall, as you mentioned, they're also extremely athletic and extremely gifted with the ball in their hands. So if you sit there and you try to guard Jeff Teague, he'll bust your ass. I mean, right now, even retired Jeff Teague will give him work. Retired Jeff Teague will get into the NBA right now or in college basketball and give some of those guys work. You know, he's not going to go out there and drop 30, but the guy can still hoop. I'm sure of it. So for DeSean Jackson to come out of his mouth and talk so disrespectfully, I was like, this feels randomly targeted. Like, why would you target Jeff Teague of all people? I guess you don't like how he talked on his podcast. I guess you feel like he's a little too mouthy. So you wanted to throw him in under the bus out of all people. But like I was mentioning, the NBA requires a lot of skill, and football players tend to not have that level of coordination. But on the football field, the level of coordination that they have, it works. Now, on the flip side of that, you can't honestly, you can't just drop NBA players in the NFL because those are the top players. That's the cream of the crop athletically when it comes to that sport. The way I like to relate football is kind of like boxing. You have to be trained to take those level of hits repeatedly. Those guys' skin are a little bit thicker than the average man, especially an NBA player. So when these guys take these hits outside of Tua, when these guys take these hits, they have a callus on their skin and on their bones where they can just pop right back up and go play the next down. And they're better conditioned than NBA players. So I'll give NFL people all of that. So the only position that I honestly think that an NBA player can come over and play, I didn't think about special teams. That's a good point. But I think the only position that an NBA player can come in and transition and is seamless would just be wide receiver. They cannot play corner. That's way too sophisticated. So the best they can do is play corner or play tight end like Jimmy Graham. So, Antonio Gates, that's been a transition that's already been made quite a few times from not NBA, but basketball players over to football is just play tight end. So, because there's only a few responsibilities you have, and the only thing you have to do is basically just get open. So, so the coordination and all that stuff from the basketball court would translate to wide receiver. However, once those guys run across the middle, all right, now we don't have Ray Lewis's in the league anymore, but we still got the Mosleys and other dudes, Micah Parsons, all right, that decleat these guys. And I'm telling you right now, if Paul George runs across the middle, okay, he'll catch 3 passes, okay, but after that 4th one, he might be out for the count. And I don't think he's going to play in the next week, is my point. So I think respectively, I think both sides of the argument need to respect each other's game and realize that these guys are professionals in their own league for good reason. But if I think that who would make the best transition, although I was talking all that smack about DeSean Jackson, I think that a football player would be better off because he could be actually in an NBA rotation, but just crashing boards, slamming into people, a la Dennis Rodman or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Nah, so check me out. So if there is, but he'll be a small Dennis Rodman. Those guys aren't really that tall, but I guess Charles Barkley. So, but I think the best that they can do is just go around, crash into people, get rebounds, hustle, play defense. But they wouldn't be worth a lick on offense. So I think that the better transition would be basketball, from football to basketball. But at the same time, they wouldn't make it for very long, much like how basketball players wouldn't make it very long in NBA and the NFL. So I think it's a fair argument either way. But for either side to be sitting there just so emphatically saying one way or another, I can't get with that, man. But
what if you give NBA players 1 year of training and conditioning to play a position that they think they can be? So no, all right. Shaq biggest size was 400 pounds.
Okay.
He could play offensive tackle at 7 foot. And
No,
offensive
man.
tackles are 7 foot right now,
No.
are 6'10".
And this is no, I feel what you're saying,
Yeah,
but offensive tackles more than size.
I
And
know.
you need so even though Shaquille O'Neal himself was a dancing bear, you know what I'm saying? He was a big man and he was very agile. You
Yeah,
still need to know what to do with your hands. And playing offensive tackle is kind of like jujitsu, you
yeah.
know. And so you need to know what to do with your hands, when to position them, because the other guys are
Oh
just
yeah,
come to fight
yeah.
you.
Okay,
Yeah,
maybe,
oh go ahead.
yeah, maybe left end or
Yeah,
end.
there you go.
Yeah.
Now you're getting
Now
somewhere.
we get slide
Nah,
away from the offensive tackles and
right. Because
just
that
catch
requires
somebody on that side. Yeah,
because that requires less coordination,
yeah,
which is why
yeah,
defensive players are just rah rah football,
yeah.
rah rah tackle. You know what I'm saying? That's the reputation that they have. Because honestly, it really doesn't require too much brain. They see football, they tackle it.
Mm,
And so for Shaquille O'Neal, for instance, if they moved him out on defensive end, yeah, he would give tackles a
yeah,
big problem. So yeah, I could see your argument on that.
yeah,
If Shaq actually dedicated himself a whole off season to play defensive end, I think even though he's a monster, defensive tackle, I think he'll get chopped a little bit too much for that. But defensive end, him setting the edge, him
mm,
batting down screen passes and stuff like that, he would be a menace actually.
yeah.
So yeah,
That's what all comes down to. It. Who would do better if you give them a full year of what gaining on pounds and
I see
playbook?
what
You
you're saying. Yeah,
know
full
what I'm
year,
saying?
I'll give it to NBA players.
Yeah,
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 full year because they're more coordinated. And
yeah.
yeah, they're more coordinated. But football players a full year, you give them the basketball, I don't care. They better had a hooping background, because if they didn't and you just drop them in the water and just give them the ball and tell them to dribble, they still won't even know how to do a left hand layup.
No, yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah, I agree with your point there. And like you mentioned, there's a lot of size going on in the NBA. And like the tallest football players, as you mentioned, are along the offense and defensive line.
yeah.
And all the other athletic dudes, they're all 6'1", 6'2" max.
Hmm.
So people drool over Megatron, but he was 6'5".
Yeah,
So he would be a shooting guard
yeah,
in the NBA. So point
yeah,
well taken, bro. Point well
yeah.
taken. So yeah, man. So guys, let us know down in the comment section. Do you guys agree with DeSean Jackson? Do you believe that he can just hop in the league and give Jeff Teague work? Do you believe that NFL players are better, and if you drop them in the water and they can just play in the NBA? Or do you feel like NBA players, if you just drop them in an NFL, they can give those dudes work? Let us know down in the comment section, guys. We would love to hear your commentary on this one. But until the next time, everyone, this is Dogon SS. That is Leo Maceo. This is the Keep On Moving podcast show. So until the next time, everybody, we'll catch y'all on the next episode. Skirt, skirt.
Peace.